Hey, ladies, we are back today with a topic that comes up really, really often in my practice. Okay. And that is when you are constantly attracting narcissists, or when you constantly attract bad guys or get into rough situations with men. And more specifically, when you see yourself as having had a lot of experience with narcissists. Let me just start by saying that in my practice, I don't use the word narcissist because that's a term that is better better diagnosed by a psychiatrist or by a psychologist, right? Um, I don't typically use that word in my practice, but this video is to make you ponder on the topic, and most importantly, how to stop that from happening. It's a very simple trick. It's a very simple hack, if you will, and you'll never have to deal with this again. A little bit easier said than done, but if you have found yourself in a pattern of constantly, dealing with a certain type of man that is harmful to you, that is cray, okay? If you constantly deal with crazy guys and things, this video is for you. You want to watch until the end. But this is the type of video that will trigger, okay? So trigger warning. At first, you might get pissed. You will be triggered. You will be triggered if this is a topic you need to heal still, okay? If this is something that it's not out of your system and your consciousness and things. So the purpose of this whole channel is to prompt you to do the inner work that you need to do to change your reality, to change your situation with dating and men and relationships. Interestingly enough, when you start doing the inner work in this area, all other aspects of your life are improved because you start to take accountability. Okay? So watch until the end and do the journal prompts that I'll give you. And don't throw this away until you have done all the inner work in regards to that. It might be a process, it might be take some time, but if you found yourself in a pattern of why am I attracting these crazy men, right? Then keep on watching. So my practice is 100% based and anchored on radical accountability. Okay? What does that mean? It means that you take responsibility for your actions, for your decisions, and understand that your life is a combination of everything, every little decision that you have made up until now. The people that I take as students and clients are people who understand that their life is a reflection of their decisions. If there's someone who inquires about coaching with me and things, if they are still in a state of consciousness where they believe that they have no control over circumstances or your life, then you're not ready for coaching with me at that point. But anyway, this is all connected to the following. There's no such a thing as attracting narcissists or attracting bad men, crazy men. But there is such a thing as you choosing to pay attention to them, go out with them, spend time with them, or be in a relationship with them. Okay, let me talk about a little example that I can think of. So in my entire life, I've only dealt with one moment where it was anywhere along those lines. And that is, I was about 22 years old, and I was in a bad moment. It wasn't a good time in my life, okay? I was dealing with depression, at the time, and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I accepted to go out to dinner with someone. And, it was great. He was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the dinner, when he was walking me home, or, he said, hey, your arms are kind of chubby, hey? And I was just like, excuse me? Like, I was like, okay, gotta run. So someone that makes a comment like that is not someone whom A, wants to impress you, B, respects you, C, that should be worth any minute of your time. So with that being said, I said, excuse me, like, what the fuck, right? No, I didn't say that to him, but internally I thought, you're done. Like, you are done, right? So this guy, during the dinner or whatever, he was totally like love bombing, like all over the place, that kind of thing, and then made that little comment in the end, right? So I decided to, I was like, no, I'm never seeing you again. Why? Because I don't ever talk to or go out with people like that will say any kind of comment that is inappropriate in any way, shape, or form, let alone to go out to dinner or whatever, right? So he texted me, later, to when we would see each other again and stuff. And now I would probably just block and, ignore forever. But back then I said, no, sorry, I'm never going out with you again, right? I don't believe that it's going to work, between you and I. And he's like, oh, why? I'm like, I think I may have, remotely like explain, I don't remember. But then he started begging me to, he started apologizing and begging me to go out with him again. I said no. Okay. Why? Because that's a massive red flag. Anyone who makes any comment to you that is inappropriate in any way, shape, or form, no matter how small it is, because that's how it starts, right? So one of the points that I want to make in this video is, it really doesn't make sense to me, like logical sense, that there were 0 red flags, like not a single red flag. And one day, boom, it was an explosion of narcissist abuse, blah, blah, blah. One of the biggest red flags of these type of people are love bombing, which means they'll be over the top, extra nice to you, like unnaturally nice to you, or unnaturally, extra with you, right? So if you are not looking at the red flags, and my next video is going to be about red flags, right? All about red flags, why you're missing them, why you're ignoring them, all of that, right? So there's no such a thing as like there was 0 red flags and then one day was an explosion of everything. No, there were red flags, you missed them or you ignored them, whatever it is, live and learn. But my point is, something bad might come to your, for example, say I'm in the metro, in the subway, whatever, and I have a guy that is a drug addict approach me. If I engage and start talking to him, right, then don't be surprised that he's coming at me and chasing me or whatever. He won't leave me alone, because why? I'm giving him attention and things, right? But if I go to the subway and a drug addict approaches me, I move forward quickly and I ignore. So the point is, like, just because there's bad guys in the vicinity, in your environment, or approaching you, it doesn't mean that you are to choose them. Take accountability and do not go out with someone that says anything remotely inappropriate or does anything remotely inappropriate, because there's things like, no one's perfect. I know that. No one's perfect. But there's things that really speak to someone who is inappropriate, who is out of line, and that you can't see. Okay? So if you want to know what are some things that are signs of someone, that may not be well or is not a good person, look at the little things they do. Look at, are they being fake to you, like unnaturally nice, and then they do something inappropriate and then they apologize and then they do it again, right? Are they, hot and cold in that regard? Are they, anyone who says anything like inappropriate, kind of like, hey, you may be a little fat. Even if you are, that's a totally inappropriate thing to say to someone who you are looking to date or be friends with, whatever. It's a disrespect, it's inappropriate, and you allow it once, that's their bad. You allow it twice, it's your bad. Okay? So unfortunately, you have to end relationships that, with someone that shows the slightest sign of gray. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, even if people don't have to, people are not perfect. People showing signs of not being well, being inappropriate, guess who's going to end up paying for that? So, there was someone who approached me and said, oh, you know, all my exes were narcissists. I'm more concerned about what is going on with you, why you are allowing that in your life, why you are choosing to be with these people. Granted, you're not with them anymore, but you're in a pattern. Now, there's something to be said about karmic relationships. And I'm going to make a separate video on that because it's really long, right? But the bottom line is you are choosing the person you are going out with. You are to be aware of patterns, right? So here's the journal prompt. Why do I feel like I have to continue to go out with someone that was inappropriate to me or disrespectful to me? Why do I feel like I have to? So you can forgive them, but it doesn't mean that you choose them. Because a person that is inappropriate to you has other issues. They are not well, they have problems. And you are not to be on a date with someone who has problems unless you are the same, right? So your journal prompt is, what would happen if I only choose men that are only good to me, that are good to me only, right? What in me is attracting? So let me give you an example. When you go out on a date and you're not feeling well, you are depressed, when you are sort of troubled inside, people can see that in you. Men can see that in you. So they will sense your vibration. They will sense your fear. And then you will attract the predators. Okay? So the journal prompt is here. Should I go out on a date when I am not feeling the best? Perhaps it's the time to ponder on what's going on with you at the moment and, you know, practice some gratitude and maybe take a rain check and say, you know what, I'm not feeling great today or at this time, and then go out later, right? So because sometimes what happens if you come with this wobbly energy, then, you know, a predator switch might be activated, and then they say something really subtle, they do something really subtle, like say for example, they start walking faster than you. Say you're supposed to be on a date and they start walking ahead of you faster, and if you sort of allow that, it's like a mini sort of like test that, you know, they can do. So for example, if that happens, you are to stop and see how far they go. Kind of like you're sending a message that is like, excuse me, where are you going? Right? So very subtle, very miniature things that they can do to start testing you when they sense a vibration. Or like, it's just the slightest things, right? Like walking faster than you, or not holding the door, or just little things that's are mini tests, you know? And as you allow these little things, comes the next one. So anyway, ladies, this video is to prompt you to ponder on this and say, why do I choose this reality? Why do I choose these men? You are to put an end to that, right? The minute it starts getting disrespectful and inappropriate, remove yourself from the situation. Now, I had someone who was saying to me, she was in a, or is in a, bad place with her spouse, in a dynamic that she started and she created, okay, by being really conflict oriented and all these things. And she was saying, and I was talking to her about, okay, let's take accountability, why you're starting this. Like, why do you feel the need to argue? Why do you feel the need to prove yourself? And she was saying, this wasn't a client, this was someone that I knew. She was saying, already I feel bad and it's my fault. So whenever you find yourself looking for blame, like blaming yourself or blaming the guy, it's time to elevate your consciousness, and it's time to wake up and realize that it's a decision you made. It's not about a blame game, blaming you, blaming him. It's about taking accountability for your role in the situation, for your part in the relationship, and choosing not to do that again, choosing not to see this person again, right? If you have children with someone like that, I have a whole course coming up for that, right? How to turn relationships around. Okay. If you're with someone who is an absolute head case, that's something that you have to ponder on and weigh in. Is that something you want to choose for yourself, for your children, for your family? Is that something healthy to be in? And that's also for another video, when there's family involved and kids and things. Yeah, but we're talking about dating, we're talking about boyfriends or that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, ladies, that's the main point. And the last point that I want to make about this: if you ever find yourself on a date saying, oh, my exes were narcissists, my ex was a narcissist, right? If you ever find yourself saying any of that you dated someone crazy, stop right there. Don't do it. In my course coming up this fall, dating for marriage, circular dating for marriage, courtship dating, there's a whole chapter about discretion. So don't you ever mention to a potential suitor or new date that you were dating bad men and that you were battered or whatever it is. Don't go there, because it speaks more about you and your choices and your level of consciousness and where you're at than anything else. Like, it's not a good look, it's not cute, it's not gonna that's not going to trigger a man to protect you and to be like, oh, you know what, poor girl. Like, it's not the reaction you're gonna get. He's gonna be more concerned with why you allow any of that. So remember that saying, I can't remember the way it goes, but it's something like, why do you keep coming back to the circus if you're not a clown? Like, only a clown keeps coming back to the circus type thing. So, like I said, it is more concerning of what is going on with you when you have, chosen to go out with someone that is crazy or unwell. It speaks more about you. So the journal prompt is, what is the part that I play, when I choose to remain with people like this? Why do I feel that I'm not worthy of seeing someone who treats me respectfully? Why do I allow it? And so on and so forth. So journal on that and take accountability of who you choose to stay with. Okay. When you remain in the situation, it's a choice you're making. Okay. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Don't say to anyone other than a girlfriend or your therapist that you've been with some crazy man. Never say that to a date. That's a big takeaway. And sure, there's crazy people out there, but why do you choose to be with them? Okay. So was that a match or what's going on? So anyway, ladies, that's it for now. Subscribe and like, even if you didn't like to hear this, right? Because a lot of times it's easier to blame the other and not take accountability for your part of in the situation, your part in the role. And this is how change in your life starts, by taking that accountability and being responsible for your choices. So let me know in the comments if this resonates. And even if you get triggered, let me know. Let me know, because that's good news. It's the start of something. Alrighty? So stay tuned for the red flags video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.